A Joplin area pharmacy will soon be hosting a vaccination clinic for ages as young as 12. You'll hear what the pharmacist and a Joplin area parent has to say about it coming up.
Researchers find that some otherwise healthy women are at a higher risk for COVID-19. And authorities offer a reward for information leading to the arrest of 2 Southeast Kansas jail escapees.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
With the FDA recently authorizing the Pfizer COVID-19 vaccine for kids as young as 12, vaccination clinics are starting to pop up aimed at that age group, and the 4-state area is no exception. This is KOIM News at 10. KOIM's Mike Mahoney spoke to a local pharmacist who will soon be vaccinating children age 12 and up, and also asked a 4-state parent whether her kids will get the shot.
Alyssa Whittington is a Webb City mom whose kids aren't old enough to get vaccinated against COVID-19. But even if they were, Alyssa would still want to know more.
I do vaccinations, but it's kind of a wait and see type thing right now.
With the FDA's recent approval of the Pfizer vaccine for the 12 to 15 age group, the Joplin area's Stone's Corner Pharmacy will soon be hosting a vaccination clinic for ages 12 and up. But they want to do more than just that. The pharmacy's owner also wants his team to be a source of information for parents and guardians with questions about kids and the COVID-19 vaccine. And he knows some of those queries can get personal.
Did you take it? Yes, I did. And we got it as soon as we were available. And the same with children. Would you give it to your kids? Well, my kids aren't in the age range, but they're 5, 7, and 9. But if they were, I would be fine with giving it to my kids. And that's where the rubber meets the road. That's what people want to know.
The Stone's Corner team is also happy to go over the latest data from the CDC, FDA, and other reputable health organizations with parents concerned about their kids and coronavirus vaccines. But they also understand many people want to do the research themselves. And for them, the pharmacy team has some advice.
The biggest way to tell if something is a reputable site, generally they will cite the references.
Alyssa Whittington may not be bringing her kids to Stone's Corner's next vaccination clinic, but she wants to learn more before her kids are old enough and she has to make a decision.
I would listen and I'd be willing to understand, but as far as doing them, I'm still unsure.
Fortunately, she's got experts in her own backyard. In Webb City, Mike Mahoney, KOAM News.
The Stone's Corner Pharmacy will offer the Pfizer vaccine for ages 12 and up this Friday at its Webb City location from 2 to 6:30. They do need folks to make an appointment, and those under the age of 18 will need a parent or guardian's permission. More than a year into the pandemic now, one study has found that some women are at a higher risk for COVID-19. These women, often young and otherwise healthy, have an underlying condition, polycystic ovary syndrome, also known as PCOS. It's an imbalance of reproductive hormones that can lead to irregular periods and ovarian cysts. A study in the European Journal of Endocrinology found women with PCOS had a 51% higher chance of confirmed or suspected COVID-19 infection than women without. Without more data, some doctors and researchers say this is something patients with PCOS should be aware of, but they should not panic. PCOS affects about 1 in 10 women of childbearing age. Some health experts say the condition has long been overlooked, misunderstood, and under-researched. President Biden is directing the intelligence community to investigate the origins of the COVID pandemic. Isabel Rosales reports on the controversial theory that's now garnering the interest of scientists.
Growing scrutiny about the origins of the coronavirus. While many scientists believe the virus emerged naturally at a Wuhan wet market, its source has not been definitively traced.
And the way to know is to go there, sequence all these early viruses, and see how things went from bats to humans, and perhaps with an intermediate host.
The lab leak theory, once considered a conspiracy, is now gaining traction.
I believe what most likely happened is there was an accidental leak followed by a criminal cover-up.
A U.S. intelligence report found several researchers at China's Wuhan Institute of Virology got sick with COVID-like symptoms and had to be hospitalized before China's first reported case. The lab and China's government strongly deny the report.
If it did come out of a lab, that would be a first for the world, is that right?
I believe so.
A new CNN reporting shows President Joe Biden's team shut down a Trump-era State Department investigation to prove the virus originated in a Chinese lab over concerns about the quality of the work. The probe headed by then Secretary of State Mike Pompeo.
Have you seen anything that gives you high confidence that it originated in that Wuhan lab?
Martha, there's enormous evidence that that's where this began.
The consensus among health experts and lawmakers: there needs to be an investigation.
We're 18 months into this pandemic and no one can show where this virus came from.
In Washington, Isabel Rosales.
President Biden is addressing the calls for an investigation. In a statement, he said the intelligence community is split on whether the origin of the virus is from human contact with an infected animal or a lab accident. The president is ordering investigators to report back to him in 90 days with more evidence. Checking in with Doug Hetty. Bit muggy out there, but otherwise it's a nice day, Doug.
Yeah, it was a pretty good day, but kind of hot. Temperatures all the way up into the mid 80s for highs. 86 is where we topped out, started out at 63 during the morning hours. Had a lot of sunshine. Clouds have increased throughout the afternoon into the evening hours, but we are staying dry. Any showers, any thunderstorms, mainly out to our west across central parts of Kansas, and that's in general where they're going to stay as we go through the next several hours. We may get couple random guys that try to work in, but this whole complex, or at least this whole storm system, is heading toward us. I think we're going to be pretty calm tonight. It's tomorrow that we're going to start to see some changes. Here's 4 a.m. Some scattered thunderstorms to our north, and then by 7, 8, 9 o'clock in the morning, they will start to pick up. Here's 10 a.m., and then they increase across the region late morning into the early afternoon. We're going to have 2 rounds of thunderstorms across the region. Of course, we're going to talk about our severe threat, all coming up here in just a bit.
All right, we'll catch you then. Thanks, Doug. The value for homes is going up as the housing market continues to surge. A local realtor tells us home values have increased by around 13% compared to the same time last year. Taxpayers will also see an increase in their property's assessed valuation, leading to a higher tax bill. But it's not caused by current market values. The Newton County assessor explains they use numbers from a few years prior when doing valuations.
So any sales letters I get between now and 22 is what we use to determine what the value for 23 will be.
So if there is an increase in property taxes because of the current housing market, that's not going to happen until 2023. That's the next evaluation year. Still ahead, what authorities are saying following a mass shooting in San Jose, California that left 8 victims dead and several injured. And later, the Frontenac baseball and softball teams prepare for state tournament play.
Your home or business.
The McDonald County, Missouri Sheriff's Office says 2 suspects in an Anderson, Missouri shooting surrendered today. Police say the shooting happened yesterday around 8:30 p.m. on Stevens Drive. When officers arrived, they found a man with gunshot wounds who was taken to the hospital where he later died. Authorities say the man got into a fight with 2 other men who claimed he was hiding someone they were looking for. At some point, that fight escalated to gunfire from both sides, they say. The 2 suspects ran, but after being identified, an attorney arranged the surrender of both men. Authorities have not filed formal charges. A 17-year-old girl pulled from a house fire in Lowell, Kansas, has died. Cherokee County Sheriff David Groves says the victim, Brianne King, had just graduated from high school. She died yesterday after the Monday morning fire. According to the Baxter Springs Fire Department, police officer and firefighter Seth Brown got there first in his patrol vehicle. He went inside the burning home with another person from the home and pulled King from the fire. There's now a $5,000 reward for information leading to the arrests of Michael Marchloff and Mark Hopkins II. Cherokee County Sheriff says they escaped from the jail in Columbus through a plumbing system late Monday night. The men are considered armed and dangerous. Hopkins was in jail in connection with a June double homicide, and Marchloff was held on felony narcotics charges. Anyone with information should contact the Cherokee County Sheriff's Office. Silicon Valley is the latest American community mourning a mass shooting. This morning, a railroad worker killed 8 co-workers at a San Jose maintenance yard and then killed himself. Jamie Yukas reports from San Jose.
The first shots rang out at around 6:30 a.m. Wednesday at a rail yard operated by the Valley Transit Authority.
This is an active shooter.
A law enforcement source told CBS News the gunfire began as workers gathered for a union meeting. 8 people were killed before the shooter turned the gun on himself. CBS News has identified him as Samuel Cassidy, a 57-year-old VTA employee. Bomb-sniffing dogs detected explosive material at the building following the shooting. Investigators say they will continue to search every crevice of the facility for evidence.
It is a fairly sizable crime scene and is going to take a while to process.
Before the shooting, a fire broke out at Cassidy's house about 8 miles away. Arson is suspected. The tragedy forced train service to be suspended in the region and led to renewed calls to regulate guns.
There's a numbness I imagine some of us are feeling about this, because there's a sameness to this. Anywhere USA. It just feels like this happens over and over and over again. Rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat.
President Biden ordered the White House flag to be flown at half-staff in honor of the victims. The president also issued a statement saying, quote, "We can and we must do more to reduce gun violence." Jamie Yukas, CBS News, San Jose.
Investigators have not said what kind of gun was used in the killings, and they have not suggested a possible motive. Later, the Frontenac softball team sets its sights on another state championship.
Plus thunderstorms right back in for us tomorrow. We're going to break that down for you coming up next.
At Johnson.
Well, it turned out to be a pretty good Wednesday for us today. Temperatures fantastic as we did go up into the mid-80s, almost kind of hot across the region. The humidity was up there, but in general, nice day. A lot of sunshine during the morning hours, cumulus clouds during the afternoon, which you can see on our Indigo Sky Casino and Resort. This is our time lapse for you. Of course, Indigo is just outside of Seneca, Missouri, but it's been pretty quiet. It's still warm. It's kind of sticky outside. 75 Indy, Pittsburgh, 73 Miami, 74 Neosho, Anderson, 76 Nevada, sitting at 74, 75 in Yates Center out across Woodson County. 73 in Joplin, 87% humidity, which that's why it feels so sticky. Clouds have been working in over the past couple hours. These are mainly due to the storms out to our west. So the tops of these storms are kind of blowing with the wind, and that's why we're getting these mid and upper level clouds across the region. Plenty of storms, big complex right across parts of Nebraska, back down into north central Kansas. This cluster has almost been just kind of sitting and regenerating in the exact same spot for the past several hours. And then they extend down through the panhandles of Oklahoma and Texas. But it's this system that is going to be heading toward us as we go through the overnight hours tonight and then again into tomorrow. All right, tonight's fine. We don't really have to worry about much. We do get some storms north of us late tonight. Here's 7:30 in the morning. They start to back build into southeastern Kansas as we go through the morning hours. So here's 10:30, and I really think after 10 a.m. they really get going, especially along and south of the I-44 corridor. So from about 10 a.m. until about 2 p.m., we could get some severe weather in here around the noon hour. I think most of these would be large hail and gusty winds, but these are going to greatly help us out because this first round of storms, it's going to kind of work over the atmosphere. And then by 4:30, 5 o'clock, we'll start to get a second round that gets going along the cold front. These will work in. Also, these could be strong to severe. I think the main threat, hail and wind. We do have a low tornado threat as we go through the evening hours. But if there's any good news here, the good news is we're going to get that first round of storms. And because we're going to get that first round of storms, the second round, late afternoon into the evening, won't be quite as powerful. Even though they could still be severe, just not quite as powerful. All these are pretty much going to be out of here by midnight. We clear out by Friday. Friday looks great. It's just going to be quite a bit cooler, high temps, right around 70 degrees. So we have an elevated threat for severe weather. It's not super high, but it's not super low. It's kind of right in the middle. Mainly from, I should probably add late morning now with that first band into the early afternoon, and then again late afternoon into the evening. We'll keep the tornado threat elevated, hail, wind, and rain, of course, high, but the hail and wind threat is much higher than a tornado threat, which is good news. So we're going to get 2 rounds of storms tomorrow. Again, that first round is going to help us out. 82, 71 on Friday, 70 on Saturday. The holiday weekend looks fantastic. A little cool for Memorial Weekend, but we dry out and get quite a bit of sunshine.
It'd be nice to have Memorial Day weekend only in the 70s.
It's not bad.
Yeah, thanks, Jack. Coming up in sports, Frontenac softball team aims for its 3rd state championship in 6 years. Plus, national honors for Missouri Southern pitcher Zach Parrish. Jacob Leonard has that and more next.
Doug Heading.
The Frontenac softball team won a regional championship last week, earning their spot in the 3A state tournament. The Raiders will hit the road to Manhattan tomorrow, aiming to finish off their 3rd title run under head coach Cassie Rooms. The Frontenac Raiders are aiming for their 3rd state championship since 2016.
We know what our goals are and what we need to do to get there, and we're going out there with the mentality that we're bringing it back, so that's what we're going to do.
The Raiders have just 2 players on the roster from the 2019 title team, so for most of them, it will be their first time on the big stage.
It's a great experience, and I just tell them they just need to play like they all know how to, but to just be excited that we get to, because it's a great opportunity and not very many people get to do it.
We have big moments in practice. We have pressure situations in practice, that where we put that added pressure on them and things like that, and man, the fans were so full at our regional tournament. I don't think that they're going to have a fuller packed stands than we did at the regional tournament.
It is a little bit nerve-wracking, but I think that she's prepared us a lot, and I think that we'll be ready for it.
Frontenac can swing it, but they're a team built on defense.
I feel like defense is something that you are in completely control of, and so it's just something in our program that we drill day in and day out. Your defense is going to win this for you, all right?
I don't have to strike everyone out. I know I can trust my defense a lot to make plays.
I've told these kids from the get-go, if we can play 21 outs, 7 innings of relentless defense, you're going to give yourself a chance to be successful, and I think that they did that in the regional tournament.
Chemistry has also been key.
Everyone gets excited for everybody. That's the biggest thing. No matter what happens, everyone's excited for their teammates, and it's not even though girls are still competing for spots, it's still one big family.
Frontenac heads to Manhattan on a 14-game winning streak. With just 3 more, they'll come back home with a 3rd championship in 6 years.
I think we're taking that momentum and that energy and taking that with us to the state tournament, and we're leaving on the right foot. Great job! Let's go! If we get out there and we do the little things and play the defense that I know we're capable of playing, I think we're going to give ourselves a good shot.
Frontenac is the 6th seed in the 3A bracket. They'll face Silver Lake in the first round tomorrow night at 7 p.m. in Manhattan. The Frontenac baseball team also headed to state. They're the 4 seed in the 3A tournament and will face 5th seeded Heston tomorrow night in Manhattan. This Raiders team, not going to lie, they kind of like the dramatics. They've won all 3 regional tournament games by 1 run, including winning 2 in walk-off fashion after trailing late.
We are a resilient group. We don't get down. We don't panic. They keep pretty calm, and they believe they're going to win every time they step on the field. And the confidence is a huge thing in baseball. I think they've come to realize now this is a business trip. I mean, we're not going just to go. We're over the excitement now. Now we have our mindset on going and trying to win.
Missouri Southern's Zach Parrish has been named the Division II National Pitcher of the Year and a first-team All-American. Parrish became the Division II leader in career strikeouts this season, ending his career with 488. Just in the last few weeks, he's been named the MIAA Pitcher of the Year, the Central Region Pitcher of the Year, and a first-team All-MIAA selection. The St. Louis Cardinals wrap up their 3-game series with the White Sox today, and the Cards are aiming to avoid the sweep after dropping each of the first 2. Tommy Edman had a big day in the 3rd inning here. Lifts it up and out to left for the solo home run. Cards have the first run of the day. Later in the 8th, Edman back to work. He'll get his 2nd homer of the day, 4th of the season. All St. Louis this afternoon. Cards avoid the sweep and win it 4-0. In the American League, Game 2 of the series between the Royals and Rays this evening. Kansas City won the opener last night, and they won 5 of 6. Tonight, though, goes into extra innings, but the Rays win on a walk-off 2-1. And that's a look at sports. We're back with more news after this.
Take time now to honor a local veteran, Private First Class Freddie Green. The Carthage, Missouri native served in the U.S. Army, and we are proud to salute Private First Class Freddie Green. He's tonight's four-state hero. A professional food eater came to the four states to test his talents in Jasper, Missouri. If you're one of Randy Santel's 1.3 million YouTube subscribers, and you already know his work. He travels the country taking on eating challenges at restaurants. Today, he stopped at Judy's Truck Stop in Jasper to take on Judy's Triple Cheeseburger Challenge. In the past, he's indulged in massive seafood platters, 40 tacos, a monster Philly cheesesteak. You might be wondering, how does he eat all that and remain mobile?
Well, the big kind of fun with everything in the early days was it was a fun motivation to keep on exercising, because I knew that if I kept on doing challenges and didn't exercise, I would get like I am now. But now is because I just do so many food challenges.
Santel did finish the triple burger. I think this thing has like 3 pounds of meat in it. It took him about 15 minutes. You can try it yourself at Judy's on North 4th Street in Jasper, Missouri. You have to admire a guy who can do that.
You know, we did that story in the 9, and of course, I had to Google roughly the amount of calories. And it's about 4 days of food that you and I should eat, which is kind of crazy.
Well, I guess he works it off.
Yeah, he obviously does. Yeah. All right, tonight looks okay. We are going to get some scattered showers and thunderstorms late morning, early afternoon. Some of those could be severe. And then a second round late afternoon into the evening. So we do have a severe threat for us on Thursday.
Thanks for joining us. We'll see you right back here tomorrow. Let's take care of ourselves and each other.